Yo, what up YouTube? What up UFC fans? UFC 158 will showcase George St. Pierre versus Nick Diaz, probably in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. That's St. Pierre's hometown, and that's where the UFC does its best numbers. The reason Nick Diaz is fighting George St. Pierre is because St. Pierre hand selected him as the most beatable opponent, considering he's coming off an injury, and Carlos Condit was a much tougher opponent. This is someone with much better striking ability and probably better takedown defense. Nick Diaz, man, where do I start with Nick Diaz? He hasn't beat too many great fighters at all. He beat Gomi back in Pride, which was like 3 years ago, man. Like, Nick Diaz he's well past his prime. He's mainly a striker that sort of stands straight up. He's kind of like his brother. He's easy. He's not that hard to take down, and he doesn't mind going to the ground because of his jiu-jitsu. It's of the highest caliber, but George St. Pierre is the highest caliber wrestler, and Nick Diaz is pretty easy to take down. So how Nick Diaz has any chance to beat George St. Pierre is for someone else to decide, because I think he's got no fucking chance. George St. Pierre he's the best wrestler in the welterweight division, and what he's going to do is he's going to take him down repeatedly and ground and pound his ass until the fight gets stopped. That's what's going to happen. And y'all are going to go on George St. Pierre's dick because he whooped Nick Diaz, when George St. Pierre knew from the beginning that, oh yeah, I could whoop Nick Diaz's ass. Let me avoid real contenders like Johnny Hendricks. Let me avoid a super fight with Anderson Silva, and let's take on Nick Diaz. This is an easy victory. I'm gonna do a Montreal, and everybody's gonna love me. It's a smart thing to do. Let's admit it. He's avoiding contenders that have a much greater chance of victory. George St. Pierre is getting older. He's getting to the point where he's got maybe 3-4 fights left, and a loss might be imminent. We saw him get knocked down from a kick against Carlos Condit. I think that was evident to the fact that he did have the heart to recover, but all it takes is one shot and it could be over for George St. Pierre. And that shot happened against Matt Serra a few years ago. Overall, my prediction for this fight is for George St. Pierre to pretty much dominate every facet. I think he's a better striker overall. Nick Diaz is good, but he's not faster. There's nothing special about him. He's just a solid, straight-up boxer, with a good jab and a right hand. Like, that's pretty much it about Nick Diaz. He's got heart. He's a tough competitor. And what he wants to do is just trade with you. George St. Pierre isn't going to do that. He probably has better foot movement. He's got better agility. He's got great speed. He did a good job striking with Carlos Condit. Let's be fair. He landed his own fair share of strikes, and he really mixes up his strikes with his takedowns. That's what would make a fight with Johnny Hendricks so interesting. But of course, George St. Pierre, he doesn't want to face the best guys out there. That's evident. Dana White said this was the first time George St. Pierre has hand selected his opponents, and guess what? He's going to keep doing it, because Hendricks probably he could beat up on another guy and he might be claimed the #1 contender, but it's going to be the question: will George St. Pierre take that fight? That's what it comes down to. Overall, I think he's going to whoop Nick Diaz, UFC 158, and who knows? The dude just might retire. Like, how badly does George St. Pierre want to duck the best fighters out there? I guess only time will tell. But I think he beats Nick Diaz pretty easily. I think this is a mismatch, and I'm not even going to watch the card. Well, perhaps I will, because it'll be interesting to see if Nick Diaz can pull off a crazy upset, but it's just so unlikely. Overall, that's how I see the fight. I just think he's going to take him down and ground pound him to death. It is what it is, guys. Peace out. Take care.